So, hey guys, welcome to the 2000 subscriber AMA. And 2000, come on, that's a big number. That's a lot of people. And I'm extremely happy, and I want to thank all of you for watching the videos, for liking them, for leaving nice comments, and for subscribing. It's amazing. 2000, that's just such a big number. Now, I'm going to start off, as this is an AMA, I'm going to start off with the questions that have been asked on the previous video, which was the 2000 sub AMA Ask Your Questions. I'm going to go from bottom to top, just in case more questions get added, and I'm not at a point where I just can't squeeze them in anymore. So, let's start off. Your real name and how long do you play WoW? My real name, I don't think that's a good idea. Putting that on the internet, that's never a good idea. But how long have I been playing WoW? I've been playing since beta. So that's what, 11 years now? It's been a long bloody time. 11 years, holy crap. I still remember the excitement and the madness associated with WoW launch. Everyone doing whatever they could to get out of work, to get out of school, not talk to relatives, just sit down and play this new MMO. That's the first casual MMO that doesn't punish you when you die with, some crazy XP loss. You just have to run to your corpse. And there is a bunch of quests that were still a lot of grinding. And by grinding, I mean you just have to kill mobs because you don't have any quests right now. And just the wanderlust of wanting to know what's behind the next hill. It was amazing. Me and my friends, huge Warcraft nerds. What we did sort of around level 24, because this is the Warcraft world. It's a new MMO world, which is always exciting, but this was the Warcraft world. So for us, this was like the holy ground. So at sort of around level 24, we went to Stranglethorn Vale, and we proceeded to make our way north as far as we can, dying like 1 billion times in Burning Steppes, dying another 1 billion times in Searing Gorge, and we were just going up and up and up, just dying and dying, not getting any experience from anything, because we were just level 24. And it was amazing. You only get this once per MMO, this sense of wanderlust, of wanting to know what's behind the next hill. You only get this once per MMO. Once you're over that, you will never get this back. And that is sad. That is really sad. Next question. Do you want to build a snowman? I think this refers to Frozen, and I'm probably going to blow your mind. I haven't seen Frozen yet. And I probably won't, because everyone's hyping it. Oh, the best ever, this good thing and better thing and best thing. Right now, my expectation is so high, I will probably be very disappointed when I see it. So I have no desire to watch it. As far as building a snowman in real life, me and my friends, every winter we get together, we build a snowman, then we build an igloo, we proceed to get drunk in the igloo, and then make a giant dig for the snowman. So I already made a snowman. I have no desire to construct additional snowmen. Next. I maybe want to get back to WoW. Is it better than Pandaria at the moment? Yes, it is. It's much better. You should do it. Do it now. Why do you prefer Druid over any other class? Do you remember that old Druid joke? Druids, one respec away from being better at what you do than you. That's why I like Druids, because you have a lot of variety, and the versatility of the class is just insane, right? I couldn't play something like a Hunter, because when you get bored with one spec as a Hunter, you're essentially bored with the entire class, because the other two specs play very similarly. All right, with a Druid, they are just too similar. With a Druid, you have a Feral Druid, which is a melee DPS, Boomkin, which is range DPS, you have a hot-focused healer, and sort of a dodge and cooldown-focused rage-generating tank. So you have all these 4 different play styles that only kind of paladins come close to this. All right, and even then, you can't be a ranged DPS as a paladin. Plus, trolls can be druids, which is a big plus as well, because trolls are my #1 race, with dwarfs being #2. Shapeshifting is also very cool, by the way. Then we have, what do you look like? And I'm going to quote Yahtzee. He once said, reality will always disappoint when compared to things we can imagine. Because as far as you know, I can be a mixture of Benedict Cumberbatch, little bit of Brad Pitt, bit of Tom Hiddleston, and David Tennant. I could also have a pair of antlers and 9 sprouting tentacles coming out of my arse. Why 9? Well, what a stupid fucking question. What? 8 is obviously not enough, and 10 is too much. Jesus fucking Christ. You know, I really think you kind of lose something once you know what the YouTuber looks like. Alright, because you make a mental image of them. You kind of imagine what they would look like based on their actions and their voice. Even though with me and voices, it's, you know, I could look like it or I can't, we're complete. So, you know, I really think it loses something once you know how the slab of meat that produces the noises you like to listen to looks like. Alright, just keep it to your imagination, but, you know, just because you really want to know, kind of like that, but I'm slightly more buff, you know, I'm not that wimpy. Next, we have, what do you think is the new race class that we're going to get in the next expansion, if we even get one? I don't think we're gonna get any more classes or races, because the balancing hole that Blizzard has already dug is so fucking deep, they can barely claw their way out of it. So I don't think we will ever get new races or classes. We will just get tweaks to the already existing ones. But what I would like to see, and this is never going to happen, unfortunately, I would like to see proper fucking Death Knights. Alright, not the Arthas, look at me, I have new Death Knights, kind of bullshit that are kind of like warriors, but they have runes and, you know, they're kind of a mix, but they're more of a melee class. I would like to see a proper fucking Death Knight. And that would be race and a class. Because once you're a Death Knight, your race is gone. Alright, your race is gone. You're just this pussy pile of shit just clamped onto a skeleton. You are riding a skeletal horse and you are a deadly caster. Alright? I just want to see a proper fucking Death Knight. Alright? Death Knights from Warcraft 2. That's what I want to see. Are you going to do the challenge mode gold? If you do, what weapon transmog will you get? Well, this expansion, unfortunately, unless we get another big raid drought period, like with, you know, Siege of Orgrimmar 2.0, if that happens, I will probably do the challenge modes, but right now, the bosses we have, especially now with the Blackrock Foundry, are so fucking cool. I want to spend all the time I'm willing to put into the game in Blackrock Foundry, fighting those bosses. So right now, there's just not enough time in the day for me to do the challenge modes, but as I've said, if we get Dragon Soul 3.0, aka Siege of Orgrimmar 2.0, I will try to do it. As far as which weapon I would get, I don't remember what they look like right now. I didn't really look at them yet, but probably one of the staves. I really look the way a staff looks on a druid's back or on any healer's back when they're healing. So yeah, there you go. What do you think of the Genesis spell? I almost never use it and I usually forget it even exists. I wish we had Wild Mushroom Bloom back again. Oh yes, Genesis, an utterly useless fucking spell. I don't know why we still have it. Alright, all it does is it accelerates rejuvenation and germination, so it ticks over 2 seconds instead of their full duration. So what that means is essentially it turns your hots into a 2-second casted spell. But first, you need to put those hots on the target. And if you don't use Genesis, you're going to do the same amount of healing, but over a longer period of time, which is what druids are used for. Alright, other healers do what Genesis does much better by default and with lower mana cost. Yeah, Genesis, useless fucking spell. I used it twice, on Bracken Spore when one of our infesting spores got hectic, and on Butcher when the other healers have low mana, because I DPS with Heart of the Wild in the beginning, so I have a bunch of mana in the other phases. So I use it there every now and then when I want to kind of heal up the cleave faster, but that's pretty much it. Wild Mushroom Bloom would be so much better, and by the way, what I'm about to say, I've said this, as soon as they removed it and they changed Mushroom to be a 30-second thing instead of infinite. All right? I've said, wouldn't it be more like, you know, wouldn't it make more sense and wouldn't it give more depth to the class if we kept Wild Mushroom Bloom and we had to place the mushroom, basically stack it up in these 30 seconds and then bloom it before it disappears? Wouldn't that be a skillful thing to do for Resto Druids? Why give us Genesis, which is a useless fucking spell that nobody ever uses, because it uses mana to do fuck all healing, right? Literally 0 healing, rather than give us this wild mushroom bloom back. So we have to place the mushroom, and within 30 seconds we have to stack it up and bloom it before it disappears, so we can actually do the healing. If it disappears, well, fucking tough. You just wasted a lot of mana on something that just disappeared, and you can't bloom it anymore. Doesn't that make sense? Now moving on to the other questions. So thus far, those were the questions asked on the 2000 subscriber AMA Ask Your Questions video. Now moving on to the rest. And I have a lot of them. Oh god, there is so many. So here we go. Since you are from Czech Republic, I want to know what the Czech language sounds like. Could you speak Czech in a video? Takže tady máme češtinu, jestli některý amík řekne, že to zní jako polština, tak ho nakoupu do prdele. So there you go. Fantastic. I kind of put the, similar questions to the same category, so I will try to answer them kind of at the same time. So, since you are from Czech Republic, I was wondering if you can speak Russian. So, привет, меня зовут MCGamerCZ. Hello, my name is MCGamerCZ. That's pretty much all I can do because я не говорю по-русски. So that's all the language questions out of the way. What do you think would fix the current itemization issues with gear in Warlords of Draenor? One thing and one thing only. Reforging. Just please, Blizzard, either give us fucking reforging or do a better job itemizing this shit, because holy shit, the itemization is fucking ghastly. Like, rogues have to be fucking furious right now, because their specs need different secondary stats, and it affects them a lot. Alright, so for instance, a combat rogue, if he switches to assassination and doesn't change out his entire fucking gear to match the secondary stats, he's gonna do shit damage with assassination. Alright, so it's just fucking ghastly. Like a druid tier set, you have 4 specs, yet the fucking tier set has the same secondary stats for every single fucking spec. So me as a restoration druid, I took one look at the fucking stats, and I went, holy shit, this is bad. This is like bad. Because out of the headpiece, the shoulder piece, the chest piece, the gloves, and the leg piece, only the trousers have the stats I want. The leg piece, shoulder piece, chest piece, and gloves might have one good stat. Otherwise, it's just shit. And I would rather have a different piece of loot with better stats. But then do I want the set bonus? Pretty much right now, it's do you want the set bonus or do you want good stats? That's what you're doing there. It's just, no, but you're doing it really wrong. It feels like they don't understand what the fuck is going on. Giving 4 specs, or 3 specs in general, the same stats on tier set bonus, it's just fucking ghastly. I don't understand, and they don't probably understand either, and it's baffling, really, isn't it? It's just baffling the way they fucked up gear in Warlords of Draenor. What do you think about people demanding constant nerfs, whether it be to challenge modes, heroic modes, mythic modes, those people who post, I think people had enough fun, now I want to do them as well, kind of topics on the forum. In my honest opinion, no one should ever cater to those people. Alright? Those people don't care about games. They don't care about gameplay, they don't care about fun, they care about rewards. Those are the people who can't play fucking Counter-Strike because, well, I got 2 headshots in a row and I didn't get a Master Surgeon Shooter Person badge, and therefore, this game is boring for me, because I don't get rewarded enough, I don't want to get any better, I just want to be rewarded. That's all I want from games. And those people, as I've said, should just not be catered to. Challenge modes, for instance, in WoW, are there because of a reason. If you are good enough to run them all and get the gold medal, you should be rewarded with a fucking transmog weapon. It's as simple as that. If everyone has it, and if they are really easy to do, what's the fucking point? Alright? And just nerfing fucking heroic raids and mythic raids, that's the point of them being there. You have LFR, you have normal mode, and that's what you can do. If you can't do heroic, well, fucking tough. Because if you did normal mode and you demand heroic to be nerfed, then you'll just be doing another fucking normal mode. It's not gonna be heroic anymore. It's gonna be another fucking normal mode because you demanded the nerfs and the nerfs came. It's essentially the fucking same. What's the fucking point? Once again, rewards. Those people should just fuck off. No one should ever cater to them. They're just bad. They're fucking cancer. So the next question is fairly interesting, at least for me. It might bore a couple of people. It's about overclocking, so if you don't want to hear about that, just skip a couple of minutes ahead, I guess. And it goes as follows. Hi, what do you think about overclocking, and have you ever overclocked anything? I like overclocking. I'm not saying you should do overclocking because I don't want like Nvidia to come here and fucking shoot me in the face. But there are a couple of rules I have for overclocking. So the first one, and probably the most important one, is if I, for instance, have a graphics card and that graphics card is not getting bottlenecked by games or whatever, I'm not going to overclock it. Okay, I'm not going to overclock things just because I can. I will overclock, for instance, a graphics card when I'm getting bottlenecks in, let's just say, Skyrim. All right, if I'm running fine, but I download an EMB and a bunch of graphical mods, and I'm getting bottlenecked at my graphics card, and I'm getting less than 60 frames per second, I will clock it. Now, I'm using MSI Afterburner. I've been using it for a couple of years now, and it's probably the best program you can get for overclocking. It's really good. It is really, really good. Now, another rule, aside from this one, is I will never run things at high temperature. All right, some people will tell you, oh, I've been running my graphics card at 85 degrees Celsius for 2 years and it's fine. Well, good for you, but if my graphics card goes to 80, I'm turning everything off and I'm putting a fucking standing fan next to the case blowing inside, because 80 degrees Celsius for me is too much. All right, I know a bunch of people will tell you it's fine. I don't like it. So I currently have my graphics card, even when I'm running Skyrim, which is the most graphically intensive game that I currently have with all the E and B stuff and all the graphical stuff and the 4K parallax textures. It's running at sort of 61 degrees Celsius at max. At that point, the fan kicks in and it runs really fast. Now, another thing that people usually do, and it's a mistake, is when they're overclocking, they're running their fan at 100% speed. Don't do that. You will burn out your fan rather fast. Now, it might take 5 years to burn out that fan, but it might also take a month or a week. All right, so don't do that. Set a nice fan speed curve for the temperature you're getting. All right. Now, other than that, overclocking is fine. There are a couple of things you need to be careful about. Like, if you're not careful while you're overclocking, you shouldn't be overclocking at all. This is why, companies tell you don't overclock because you're going to wreck your shit. Because it's because of people who are not careful and people who don't read about overclocking. They just turn on MSI Afterburner. They pump everything up to high. And even though they're getting graphical artifacts in games and the games are crashing, they don't pay attention and they just keep pushing their system. And eventually, their graphics card will burn out or their CPU will burn out. Now, as I've said, you need to be really careful. If you're not careful, you shouldn't be overclocking. All right, so always clock 10 at a time. Never clock more. You will more likely find the sweet spot when you're clocking 10 at a time rather than like 100 at a time. Because what you can do is, here's how you know. For instance, with a graphics card, you've clocked it too much. You get into a game that you're using for a benchmark, or you have a program that does that. And for me, for instance, it's Skyrim around Falkirith with all the EMBs and trees and, oh my god, so many god rays and shadows and shit. That's the benchmark for me. So you clock 10 at a time and you run one route. All right, then you clock 10 more, you run the same route until you get weird artifacts, and you will not miss them. Those are not sort of the YouTube light artifacts. No, these are fucking yellow triangles popping in and out, flickering, blue, red, and purple boxes appearing, and weird shit and squares everywhere. You will notice that. As soon as that happens, turn off the fucking game and go back 10 clock. Go back 10 on the clock. And this is why you go 10, because this will help you find the sweet spot. All right, where if you go 100, you don't know if it was, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, or 90, or the 100. If you go with 10, if you're, let's just say, 980 clock, you go 990, and suddenly you start getting artifacts, you can go 980, and it's going to be fine. Now, if you push it even further, the game will crash. And if you keep pushing it like that, you will burn your stuff. So you need to be really careful about that. Be really careful when you're overclocking. Read about it. Use probably MSI Afterburner. That's the one I like the most. And just generally be careful. That's all I can say. And also bear in mind that you can't get your card replaced or you don't get your money back when they find out that you've been overclocking, you've been fucking around with your stuff. That's also an important thing. And for the last 10 minutes, because I decided this video shall not be longer than 30 minutes, because I can't ask you to take an hour out of your day to listen to me spew bullshit forth from my mouth. So I decided 30 minutes is the limit. So I saved sort of the short and quick questions for the last 10 minutes of this video. So, Pepsi or Coca-Cola? For me, it's Pepsi, but I need to mix it with water. I can't drink like pure Pepsi. I just can't do that. All right, it's too sweet for me. I can't drink that. So if I want to have a glass of Pepsi, I need half of that glass to be water and then half Pepsi. All right, otherwise it's just too bloody sweet for me. Your favorite celebrity / famous person. So for male, there is a multitude of them. All right, we have Hugh Laurie, we have Stephen Fry, Rowan Atkinson, Bill Bailey. And that's pretty much the top 4 for me, at least. And for females, it's gotta be Olivia Wilde. It is gotta be Olivia Wilde. I mean, come on, Olivia Wilde. Look at her. How's Dipshit doing? Now, for you newer folks, you probably have no idea who Dipshit is. Dipshit is my cockatiel, and he is currently sitting on top of the monitor. Dipshit, sweetie pie. Ah, he's so nice. He's very sleepy. He was molting last week, and oh my god, when he's molting, it's a fucking nightmare. My PC is just full of dust and feathers every time he's molting. So we have that out of the way. So we had a bath yesterday, and today he's being very nice. He just ate like 10,000 sunflower seeds, and he had a bit of carrot, and he's doing fantastic. Since you've said you're going to take another look at Elder Scrolls Online once they drop the subscription fee, is there any chance you will record videos from Elder Scrolls Online? Maybe. I don't think so. I think I would just stick to WoW and Warframe. So, I don't know. Maybe if I really like the game, which I don't think I will, because it's, you know, it's not that great of an MMO, and it's not an Elder Scrolls game, so I don't know. I don't think I'll stick too long with that game, sadly. So I guess we'll have to wait for the Elder Scrolls 6. Yay. If there is one thing you could add to World of Warcraft, what would it be? And I immediately knew what it is. All right, it's the World v World PvP from Guild Wars 2. Because when Blizzard announced Ashran, I imagine it would be pretty much the World v World PvP, but on a smaller scale. So we would have an island with different outposts and keeps and towers, and you would have to capture them and hold them, and if you hold them for a certain amount of time, you will get points or something. That's what I imagine it would be. Right? Instead, it's just this very stripped version of the old school Alterac Valley, where the only thing you have is this one lane, and you have 2 massive groups just collapse together, and that's it. All right, then you're running around with 5 FPS, and you're just trying to AoE shit down so you get as many rewards as possible. And I don't like that. You know, I was there for a couple of times. I just went into Ashran, and I realized, you know, this is not an awful lot of fun. This is just a fucking Zerg fest, and there is nothing you can do about that. In Guild Wars 2, you can run sort of as a small spy group. Okay, you have scouts, you have commanders, you have the big Zerg, then you have the smaller Zerg, and then you have, you know, sort of 3 people running around and capturing the easier objectives like the camps. Now in Guild Wars 2, taking over the big keep in the middle isn't just we need as many people as we can, and we will keep throwing them at the walls until the walls collapse. You know, which is essentially what Ashran is. You just keep throwing people at the other side, and eventually the other side either gives or your side gives, and you lose. But in Guild Wars, you have scouts constantly scouting the positions of the enemy Zerg. All right, and they're capturing the small objectives. Then you have commanders, and they're just leading these armadas throughout the land. And taking over the big keep consists of, okay, we need to take this camp, and this camp so they don't get supplies, which means they will either have to react or they will have to fortify. In which case, we can go around, we can take those towers, and because they don't have enough supplies, we can build a trebuchet at one of those towers, and we need to defend it while we're taking down the wall of the keep. And they can't repair it because they don't have supplies. So once we take down the wall, we need to run in, we need to place the ramps at this gate, because this game is less likely to be heavily fortified. And then when we run in, the first door to the keep is probably going to be fortified with ballistas and arrow carts. So we need to run around, we need to take the back route, which means we can ambush them from behind, and we can take down the keep boss while killing them. Alright, compare this to, okay, they have 90 people, we have 60 people. We might as well just not try. In Guild Wars 2, a big Zerg can be easily defeated by a smaller but much more organized Zerg. In WoW, in Ashran, it's just not happening. Because you can't flank, you can't do those things. Alright, so that would be the one thing I would love to be added. Just the world v world PvP from Guild Wars. Because that's one thing that Guild Wars has and WoW doesn't. What is the playtime of your druid? Now, I made my druid mid-cataclysm, and so far, I have 115 days, 3 hours, and 12 minutes. Which is insane when compared to one particular thing. When the Elder Scrolls was a thing, the big thing they were advertising was, we have around 100 hours worth of gameplay for every player. And I'm already over 100 days played in WoW. You know, that's kind of Next question. Do you think Warlords of Draenor is our last expansion since we are capping at level 100? I'm pretty sure it's not. Okay, don't quote me on this, but I'm kind of sure that Blizzard has something like a 10-year plan for WoW. So 10 more years of this. And this kind of highlights how insane it is to release a subscription-based MMO nowadays. Because, you know, you make an MMO and you're like, oh yeah, you can definitely subscribe to us. We have about 5 or maybe 7 months worth of content coming up in the next couple of months. And then just the door flings open and there is WoW standing there and goes, you know what, I've been going for 10 years and I really feel like going for 10 more. So go back to your fucking free-to-play cave and it's done. You know, this is how MMOs die, because WoW always has more. And the last question. How many fingers am I holding up? 1. Did I get it right? I hope I did. So, thank you for subscribing once again. Thank you for just watching my videos, for giving a shit. Just, yeah, that's it, that's right. Thank you for giving a shit. So there you go. There is the 2,000 subscribers AMA. I hope you have enjoyed this video. And hopefully, I will get to make another one relatively soon. Because I love making those, I really do. Even though I have to sit in front of a monitor for like 5 hours talking to a microphone, Dipshit's like, what the hell is he doing? Could he shut up for a bit? No, I could not, Dipshit, sweetie pie. And yeah, so there it is. 2,000 subscribers AMA. 2,000. 2,000. It's an insane number. And it's awesome. So yeah, there you go. I still have a couple of questions left. I think I will save them for a normal Q&A, since I really don't want to go over 30 minutes. We're at 28 minutes. I think this is as good of a time as any to cut this video. So once again, thank you, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.